A few days ago, we celebrated Palm Sunday, joining with Christians all over the world to focus on Jesus riding into Jerusalem and remembering that how he did that caused the whole city to be shaken. It says in the New Testament that the whole city was stirred. It was the start of what we refer to as the Passion Week, and it set in motion a whole series of events leading up to Jesus being crucified and then being raised from the dead. And before we get into the pause and listen associated with that thought, I just want to remind you that the purpose of these pause and listens is to personally connect with God. It is not to check off an item on your to-do list or to simply feel good because you watched the video all the way to the end. And you can, at any moment, when you sense God speaking to you, you can pause and be fully attentive to Him. Seize the opportunity. And you'll find that that little choice to connect will leave you in a good way, slightly different, for the rest of your life. Put together a string of small practices and you'll find that real progress will be made in our call to abide in Christ and to walk by the Spirit. During this week's pause and listen, we will once again reflect on what was said about Jesus in Philippians chapter 2, because it provides us with a background and insight into the attitude as well as the intentionality that moved Jesus to ride into Jerusalem, where he would fulfill the desire of his heart, which was to die for us, and then to be raised up so he could share his life with us. Philippians chapter 2 does not just speak about what Jesus did for us. The passage also calls us to follow his example, being intentional about expressing love. Listen again to the first 8 verses and invite the Spirit to speak to you as you hear them, maybe highlighting a phrase or a word for you to linger on a little longer. Philippians chapter 2. Therefore, if there is any encouragement in Christ, if any consolation of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any affection and compassion, Paul says, make my joy complete by being of the same mind, maintaining the same love, united in spirit, intent on one purpose. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility. Consider one another as more important than yourselves. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others. And then he says, have this attitude in yourselves, which was also in Christ Jesus, who, as he already existed in the form of God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a bondservant, and being born in the likeness of men, and being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death on a cross. Do you sense the Lord has spoken to you as you heard those words? If so, then you might ask him, what is my next step? And then continue to listen.